Hey, it's Lemon. Welcome to the Backlogs. You know, for a game called Dark Souls, we really haven't done any deep dives into the darker parts of this game. And I don't mean literally. Any amount of time in the Tomb of Giants is too much time. So, when the idea of leaning into the semi-hidden Darkwraith Covenant came across my desk, it was intriguing to say the least. For those who don't know, there's a covenant in the game dedicated entirely to PvP. But there's a catch. Unlike future games, in Dark Souls 1, you had to be committed. No half-hearted members allowed. You want to casually invade other players every now and again? Try one of the other covenants. I hear they're hiring. But if you are committed to the cause, you get several goodies. First off, you'll get some very interesting armor that shows everyone you invade that you are here for one thing and one thing only: the host's salty tears. And you'll also get 2 unique weapons, the Dark Sword and the Dark Hand. Now, the sword is just a sword. Nothing fancy to see here. But the Dark Hand? Ho, now that's worth talking about. So, with that said, I think it's time we lean into our inner edgelord. It's time to find out. Can you beat Dark Souls 1 with only the Dark Hand? So, let's talk about the Dark Hand. It's a fist weapon that can be used in either hand, and has the usual fist moveset of very short distance punches in the right hand, and the ability to parry when put in the left. However, the Dark Hand also acts as a shield, though not like one you've ever seen in Dark Souls. The shield itself is a temporal warp, curving reality around you and making everything in front of you blurry. This shield blocks all damage types for 80% of their damage, making it pretty damn decent against literally every damage type in the game. You'll always take chip damage, but there are worse options out there. The only negatives about this shield are that you really can't see what's going on in front of you once you start warping your own vision, and there's no poise damage, so enemies will never bounce backwards after hitting you. There's also another strange attack that this weapon can do: the Dark Hand Suck. Use this against an enemy who still has some humanity left inside, and you'll suck it right out of them. The only caveats are they have to be humanoid, and they have to be standing. Otherwise, it just does heavy attack damage instead. Sorry about that, Oscar. Using this attack against an enemy that doesn't have any humanity left also just does heavy attack damage as well. And with it being so slow, your best bet is to just punch enemies with normal attacks instead. But unlike most other fist weapons, the Dark Hand is strong. We're talking 200 physical damage from the get-go, which means the beginning of the game is going to be, super easy baby mode. But don't worry, as with all challenge runs, there's always a brick wall, and the Dark Hand has some pretty hefty walls we're going to have to bypass. The main problem at hand is that the Dark Hand can't be upgraded at all, which means while we may be starting with 200 damage, we'll be ending with it too. It also doesn't have any scaling of any kind, which means there's no way to push the damage higher until we collect a few key items. But at least this means we can pour all of our levels into health and stamina. So with that in mind, it's time to start working our way towards our covenant of choice. It's a bit of a hike to get there. We're going to need to clear about half the game before we can access it, but I am nothing if not patient. I introduce Havel to my fists, killing him in about 3 riposts, then collect his ring to guarantee that we'll be fast rolling the entire run. After that, it's time for the tourist demon. I don't know why he bothered showing up though. It only takes about 5 hits before the fight is over. A strong start. Maybe getting to my covenant of choice won't take that long. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. Only one thing will fix this. Some sweet, sweet lovin' from my best buddy Solaire. Come here, my guy. Give me some sugar. I am your neighbor. Now, don't worry. While I may be stealing his humanity, it doesn't actually do any damage to our sun buddy, so we can do it over and over again, and he'll never aggro. The supply of humanity isn't limitless. Looks like our pal only had 5, but that's 5 more than we had. Thanks for the juice, Solaire. Have a great day. So yeah, this run is going to be humanity heavy for once. Normally they just kind of sit in my inventory, but considering how many NPCs are out there, I have a feeling our liquid humanity is going to be upwards of 30, maybe even 40. Which is great, because having liquid humanity is actually a great boon that I rarely take advantage of. Exhibit A. For those of you who don't know, liquid humanity actually affects 3 things: your defenses, your curse resistance, and your item discovery rate. The more liquid humanity you have, the higher those numbers go. Item discovery increases stop at 10 liquid humanity, but your physical defense will continue to increase all the way up to 99. So the more liquid humanity you're willing to risk, the beefier you'll be. Granted, I don't actually need item find this run, but hey, always fun to impart some knowledge on the audience. So with the goal of increasing my defenses, I get up close and personal with Petrus, become the healthiest edgelord by leveling up my vitality as high as I can, then start punching my way through the next boss, the gargoyles. After making the critical mistake of trying to hide in a corner to heal, which goes about as well as expected, I come back with a vengeance, knocking out the first gargoyle before the second can even reach me, which makes the second gargoyle little more than a footnote in the script. 1 bell down, 1 to go. I give some smooches to our boy Oswald. Well, what is it? Then push into the Darkroot Garden to get the brand armor, and punch the Moonlight Butterfly to death. Between the 80% magic defense the Dark Hand Shield gives me, and the heavy damage it returns, 2 quick boxing matches is all it takes. Moving right along. You know what? I'm feeling confident. With as strong as this weapon has been, we might as well clear the Undead Asylum. Usually we wait a bit longer, but why bother? Have at ye, stray demon. I hope you're ready for what is happening right now. That's no fluke. You're seeing that damage correctly. 39 damage a swing, no more, no less. Thankfully, the stray demon is a very predictable boss, so our patience will win out the day. But what the hell happened? Turns out, stray demon has some pretty hefty physical defense. And considering our damage is actually pretty low in comparison to what the game was expecting us to be doing at this point, yeah, that's just how the math works out. So after a good 10 minutes of punching and dodging, the stray demon goes down, leaving nothing but a useless Titanite slab and an unshakable sense of foreboding. Oh, and the doll. Can't forget the doll. I give Lautrec some love, some would argue more love than he deserves, and after he's bone dry and I've got 19 humanities, Lautrec has officially outlived his usefulness. 1 final riposte, and that's all she wrote. Fat ring acquired. With 30 vitality already in place, I start to pump up my endurance, then make my way down to the Capra Demon. This shouldn't take long. 1 hit the doggos, then play dodge the machete while putting all that new endurance to work. Poor guy was already dead. He just didn't know it yet. I free Laurentius so that I can get a pyromancy flame later, punch the giant rat to death with relative ease, then begin the slow slog that is the gaping dragon. This boss's hitboxes are what we in the industry like to call complete bullshit, but aside from that nonsense, this boss is pretty cut and dry. Right, what's next? I pump my endurance to 25, which just so happens to be enough to allow me to fast roll in the elite knight armor, discover that I, Shawine, has no sugar to give, then punch my way through Blighttown. It's not an easy fight. The ghouls all take about 3 or 4 hits, and our warp shield doesn't grant us toxic immunity, but after a little bit of muscle and a lot of dipping and dodging through the ramparts, we've got the only thing we wanted. Power within. And with that nabbed, it's time to clear the area. Come here, Quelaag, you saucy spider. Come give me some. Oh god, it's happening again. So yeah, looks like the portion of the run where everything is too easy is finally over. It's better damage than the stray demon, and Quelaag's attacks are pretty slow, so wombo comboing her to death isn't hard. But we're gonna need an increase to our damage ASAP. 2 bells down. Time for Sen's Fortress. But first, how about a little snack? And there you go. 40 humanity, just like that. Now to live out my greatest fantasy and kiss Santa Claus. Oh god, wait, I'm sorry. I make my way through Sen's Fortress with little fanfare, then begin the slow and inevitable death of the Iron Golem. My fists do enough damage to knock him down, which means dishing out the damage isn't all that hard. And so long as you pay attention, this fight basically finishes its— oh no! Oh god, no! Put me down! I don't even— take your lumps! First try, not even close. Into Anne Orlando, where I steal a quick smooch from Cat, give a free heart exam to all the painting guardians on the rafters, then decide it's better to get the painted world over with now rather than later. God knows I'll forget to come back. Yep, super glad I decided to come here. Here's a question for you. What's stronger? Magic that warps time and space itself, or 2 bone wheels? Well, there you go. But after a little panic and a lot of pulley-pulling, we opened the gate to the boss. And we even made it out alive. I hate this place. Whew, okay, finally. Time for Priscilla. I already know this fight isn't going to be much of a problem, so let's up the ante. And by that I mean, gimme that tail! Oh, right, invisibility. This might actually be a problem. Hitting her isn't the issue. The running swipe attack on the Dark Hand does a fine job of hitting her so long as we have a decent guess of where she is. I'm more concerned about knocking her out of invisibility. I'm sure the fist does a lot of poise damage, but considering every time I punch more than once, she slaps me with her scythe, I really don't have much opportunity to build that poise damage up. Ah, there we go. Finally. Only took half of her health bar, but we finally staggered her. Now we just need to focus fire on her tail and we can— no, that's fine, I didn't want to fight you normally anyway. No snuggly tail for us, lads. Just wasn't in the cards.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Back to Anne Orlando, where I teach the archers the importance of manners, then push forward to the true challenge. Ornstein and Smo. Alright, let's see what we're dealing with here. Oh god. Oh god! Well, we knew this day was coming. Time to pool together all of my good and get Thankfully, between all the points I've been putting into health and all the humanity we're currently holding, this fight feels a bit easier than I'm used to. In fact, I may have to use liquid humanity more often. That defense bonus is no joke. After deciding that Smo is the weaker of the two, I focus my fire and wail on him until he topples over, then begin the very, very long process of killing Ornstein. If I'm being honest, this boss is a joke in the second phase. So long as you continue to pay attention and don't let him put you in a corner, even beating them with a weapon that only deals 48 damage per hit isn't that hard. Just keep calm, remember your training, and you will make it back alive. But with ONS out of the way, it's time. Time to fulfill our destiny as the edgelord of this universe. No time for womanly distractions. I live only for the edge. I grab a pyromancy flame from our boy Laurentius, thank him for his generosity, try to ask for absolution so that me and Santa Claus can be friends again. Yeah, no, that ain't happening. Then acquire the crest of Artorias the only way I can. With violence. So wait, does this mean I'm on the naughty list? Guess there's no reason to play nice anymore. Onward to Sif. Not much to say here. The damage is as awful as ever, but between our copious amounts of health, our heavy defense, and a waterfall of patience, Sif goes down without much effort. Which means it's time for the biggest challenge of the run. It's time to join the Dark Wraiths. I steal any last bits of humanity I can from Ingward, open the gates to Edgeville, then take a short detour to grab the last piece of the puzzle, the RTSR. I don't think we'll end up needing it, but better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Right, now we just need to get past all of the Drakes and... What the hell are you doing out here? I don't know what you thought was going to happen, but you can tell your boss that I'll be seeing him shortly. Oh, and if you want tickets to the fight, they're currently on sale, because while you'll pay for the whole seat, you'll only need the edge. You know what? No, not yet. While I'm pretty sure we can take the Four Kings on, I want this to be a resounding victory. First impressions are important after all. So instead, we're going to go down into the catacombs. And after a quick pep talk, it's time to remove the one thing standing between me and perfect victory. Pinwheel, Keeper of the Kindling. 0 issues here. One full wombo combo of Dark Hand damage is all it takes, and the right of kindling is now ours. I boost the flames, acquire 20 Estus flasks, then return to the Abyss. Let's do this. Alright, the damage is in fact as bad as we were expecting, and even with Power Within activated, we're still only doing 60 damage per hit, which means I've only punched my way through a single segment of health before the second king shows up. This is gonna get ugly fast. Luckily, we have one advantage. The Four Kings' magic attacks, which are usually the largest drain on health resources, only do chip damage with the Dark Hand shield, which means I can worry less about getting burst down and worry more about going ham on those gams. I play aggressive, only stopping my flurry of blows when absolutely necessary. But while I'm dishing out more pain than I'm receiving, I can't keep up. More and more kings are spawning in every minute, and while one king's damage isn't enough to do significant damage, 4 or 5 kings will be. So I make a split-second choice. I change gear and put on Pinwheel's second gift to us, the Child Mask. It's ugly, and there are several close calls, but with the stamina boost letting me dish out even more fisticuffs, our DPS steadily increases. And after roughly 10 minutes of sweaty, heart-pounding combat, it's over. The Four Kings, destroyed with the very weapon that corrupted them. And with them defeated, it's time to meet the leader of my new covenant, the Lord of Edge himself, Kath.
Entrust thine flesh to me.
Wait, what does that mean? Ah, I see now. He was being literal. Cool. Well, there's no going back now. I guess we just need to embrace the edge and accept the fact that there's a Tony inside each and every one of us. So, with our endgame gear acquired, all that's left is to beat the game. Time to give everyone the beatdown of a lifetime. I pound Ceaseless back into the depths from which it came, prove to Kirk there can only be one edgelord, get chortled by a giant worm, for reasons, then begin Stray Demon 2 Edgelord Boogaloo. And it is every bit as bad as I remember. It's worse than tedious. It's boring. For anyone who's ever asked me to do a fist-only run or an always over-encumbered run, this fight right here is a perfect example of why I always say no. Anti-fun runs aren't fun to perform or fun to watch. Trust me, you don't want this. You think you do, but you really don't. Moving on to the Centipede Demon. Honestly, it's the Demon Fire Sage all over again. An absolute nothing burger of a fight. I did end up punching off one of his limbs and got the lava ring a bit early, which was surprising considering the Dark Hand's extremely short range, but other than that, I just punched him until he died. Moving on, I absorbed the powers of the last witch in Izalith, tried to give her my power as a trade, with limited success, then fought the worst boss in all of Soulsborne, muttering curses all the while. This might be a hot take, but I would rather they had skipped out on fighting the Bed of Chaos entirely and just made it a lore boss instead. Think the final boss of Demon Souls. It's only a fight in the most literal sense of the word, but it's lore significant, so we can all look back on it fondly. Not this though. Never this. In other news, this character build is completely done. I've soft-kept Vitality and Endurance, which means I've nothing left to put my points into. Guess I'll just put points into, I don't know, Resistance? Sure, why not? Give Resistance some love. I make my way into the Tomb of Giants, where Patches gives me absolutely no sugar. You're lost, man. Randomly acquire a Black Knight Halberd. Thank you, Dark Souls. Then jump down into Nito's tomb. There can only be one Bone Daddy. All joking aside, considering I have no way of removing the skeleton mobs, and this armor isn't exactly great for toxic and bleed damage, jokingly putting points into resistance might have actually saved me during this fight. I mostly had to rely on Nito to kill his own mobs, and focus on DPS instead. A strategy that Nito was more than happy to collaborate with. And after several close calls and many chugs of Estus, I give Nito one last fist bump and prove that I am, in fact, the best Bone Bro. I'm the daddy now! Time to assert my dominance in the archives. I show off my new Hornet Ring to the Crystal General. God, that animation is brutal. Then laugh in the face of Seath's pathetic attempts to curse me. What? You thought I'd just let him take my liquid humanities? Not on your life. I'd be willing to wager Seath's life though. That'd be fine. Smash the crystal, eat some seafood, then begin the slow, painful task of punching Seath to death. Painful for him, I mean. Not for me. Nothing to see here. Moving on. Did you see what I just did there? But with all the Lord Souls acquired, all we've got left is the DLC. Which means it's time for— What the? Why is Andre still here? Oh, look, he's waving. Well, can't just leave you here for the rats. Come on, Andre, we're going on an adventure. This is gonna be great. We can visit the gardens, maybe stop in Blighttown for a quick snack, and then afterward we can— Wow, okay, I just got ghosted by Andre. You know I know where you live, right? You know what? It's fine. I don't need you anyway. Have fun playing with your very large ember by yourself. Nah, who are we kidding? It's not even large. Suggestive wordplay aside, there's only one brick wall between me and the DLC. The Hydra. Killing 6 of its 7 heads is no problem. But like most of my challenge runs, the real issue is that we aren't doing enough damage to kill it outright. Guess it's another run of dealing with Wacky Dave over here. Thankfully, previous runs have taught me well. Just stand a bit away, run up the rock, then punch him at exactly the right moment. Do this enough times, and the Hydra's final head will fall off. Could be worse. And with that, we can access the DLC. Time to let the darkness flow. The Sanctuary Guardian is a complete cakewalk. Just wait until you have an opening, then take it to Pound Town. There'll be plenty of openings to choose from, so take your pick. Then just rinse and repeat until it's done. But now comes the hard part. The next few bosses are renowned for how aggressive they are, leaving very little room for error. And with our fists doing so little damage and having so little reach, this is gonna be a bad time. Hang on to your butts, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to break out the montage music. Okay, this isn't working. Needless to say, throwing myself at the brick wall over and over again probably would eventually yield results, but time is of the essence, and we can do better. So while it pains me to admit it, we have to give some slight credit to Kirk. He may have been the lesser edgelord, but an edgelord he still was. And to honor that fact, we will be taking a single piece of him with us into battle, his gauntlets. For those who don't know, you can get Kirk's armor by killing him at all 3 of his invasion sites, then visiting the Fair Lady down in Blighttown. And using Kirk's armor has 2 benefits. The first is that anytime you roll, you do damage. Insignificant damage, mind you, but damage all the same. And the other benefit is 20 extra damage to all fist weapons. Not 20%, just 20. Is it a lot? No. But considering we're doing pitiful amounts of damage as it is, I'll take every little bit I can get. On top of this, it gives me just enough damage to knock Artorias out of his buff up attack, which 9 times out of 10 was the reason he was killing me. Because boy oh boy is Artorias fond of powering up during low damage runs. Any chance we can get to keep him from doing so is a chance we'll take. But with our powers combined, I grit my teeth and somehow find the strength to bear the unfathomable weight of so much edge. Which means it's finally time. The abyss stares out from the inky blackness, but unlike those that came before me, I stare back. Oh, poor sweetling. You think the darkness is your ally, but you merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man, and by then it was nothing to me but blinding. The shadows betray you because they belong to me. What am I doing? Am I seriously sitting in the dark quoting The Dark Knight Rises? Jesus wept, we need to finish this run. All this edge is getting to me. 2 more bosses to go. Time for Calamite. This one might be a little tough, but don't worry. I brought my dogs. Go get 'em, pups. You know, in retrospect, I should have taught them how to do something other than play dead. Well, who knows? Maybe Calamite will be so impressed that he just gives up. Yeah, no, that was a long shot at best. Someone tell Cat I love her. Round 2 goes much better. The range of our fists is still abysmal, and our damage is still awful. But I know this fight well enough that it's more about patience than skill. Just hit him till he dies. Ah! Put me down! I get vertigo! Woo! Okay. First try. Easy boss. Get out of my way, not Kath. I've got a challenge run to finish. Finally. After everything we've been through, it's finally at its end. All that's left now is to kill Gwyn, and this nightmare can finally be over. Oh crap, I forgot Gwendolyn. Okay, now we can end this. The final boss, the Lord of Light himself. The Dark Hand shield makes easy work of his flame damage, and with the power of parrying on my side, there's not much he can do. I was so confident that I switched over to the Hornet Ring mid-fight, and it does... That's weird. Maybe that was just a weird glitch. Let's try... Wow, okay, that's a new one. So yeah, no idea how much damage I was doing to Gwyn there. Apparently I'm not worthy of knowing. But with his death, it's official. What little light remained has been strangled from this world. And now I... Yeah, no, that's enough edge for one day.